Hello and welcome to session number 2 of module 2, wherein we are discussing about buoyancy. So we'll continue with the buoyancy. So in the last session we have seen what is meant by buoyancy and how to calculate buoyancy, center of buoyancy for submerged and floating bodies. So in this session we'll see about the stability of the submerged bodies and floating bodies in a fluid. So whenever whenever the object is in a fluid, it will be either submerged, fully immersed inside the body, or it will be floating. It will be floating in the fluid here. So first case we'll see about the submerged bodies in a fluid. Stability means whether it will be in a stable position, or whether it will fall in the liquid. For example, take a ship. So ship has to be stable in a fluid when it is moving. So if it is not stable, it will simply twist and it will sink into the fluid here. So that stability. So we have that what is called as equilibrium, state of equilibrium. So we have stable, equilibrium, unstable and neutral. So in case of submerged bodies, we will see these type of equilibriums. So we want the object to be in equilibrium. So in equilibrium we have three types. One is stable, unstable and neutral equilibrium. So here we have a object. We suppose say this is the free surface of the fluid, and inside the object is inside the fluid. So just assume a balloon with some weight in the air, or you can assume some object inside the water. Okay, so this is a free surface and this is the object inside the fluid. So here we have conditions where we have the center of gravity of the object G. The weight is acting at center of gravity. Okay, and this is the buoyant force which is acting at B. So we know that they are in the same line and opposite direction. So here we are taking the stable condition. So whenever the weight of the object, that is center of gravity, is below the center of buoyancy or the buoyant force, so and if I give a twist to the object, suppose I will twist it in the left hand side slightly, I will try to make it give a twist to the object, some angular displacement in one direction, say left hand side here. So what happens here, B will come this side and G will go this side. So you can see here B and G, they are not in the same line now. So since the two forces are acting in opposite direction and they are not in the same line, there will be a couple acting on this object because of these two forces in the opposite direction. So this couple will try to twist the object to the equilibrium condition. So it will come back to the original position. So this couple will try to bring the object to the original position. So this couple is called as restoring couple, right? Similarly, when you try to push the object, when you try to move the object or make it imbalance in the clockwise direction, so again when you twist the object in the right hand side, so what happens, B will come this side and G will be on this side. So again they are not in the same line, and once again the couple will be formed here. So because of these two forces, the couple is formed, and this couple tries to rotate, bring back the object to the straight line, to the original equilibrium condition. So this is called, again, this is the restoring couple here. So whenever we take an object and which is submerged in the liquid, and whenever we try to make it imbalance or in under different, if you want to make it in equilibrium condition, so because of this, whenever the center of gravity is below the center of buoyancy, a couple will be formed which will restore the object in the original position, stable position. So that is called as stable equilibrium Oh, this is possible only when G is located below the center of buoyancy. So because of this, whenever you try to make it imbalance, this couple will be formed and it will restore the object to the equilibrium stable condition. So you can see either if you rotate it on the left hand side anti-clockwise direction, it will, this couple will act in the clockwise direction and restore the object to the equilibrium condition. If you move the object, twist it in the clockwise direction, this restoring couple will move it in the opposite direction, anti-clockwise direction, and bring the object to the stable condition. So this equilibrium, this condition is called as stable equilibrium for the submerged bodies. So this is possible only when the center of gravity is below the center of buoyancy. So now assume another condition, the same object, the same surface is here, the object is inside the fluid, and now the center of buoyancy is below the center of gravity. That's the difference now. Okay, in this case, stable condition, center of gravity was below center of buoyancy. Now, in this case, in this condition, equilibrium unstable condition, center of buoyancy is below center of gravity. So if I try to twist the object on the left hand side, that is anti-clockwise direction, what will happen? G will come this side, B will be coming this side. So the two forces are here now. So they are G is acting downwards, B is acting upwards. So couple will be formed which rotates in the anti-clockwise direction. So the object is also rotating is moved in the anti-clockwise direction. The couple also, it will add up and it will move the object in the anti-clockwise direction. So it causes the object to twist inside the fluid. So in that case, you cannot say that the object is in equilibrium condition because it will twist on one side and it will sink into it may sink into the water or the fluid. Similarly, you take the same object here and try to twist it in the clockwise direction. And when I twist the object in the clockwise direction, again what happens? G and B, it will be repositioned and a couple will be formed, and the couple is also rotating in the clockwise direction. It's also acting in the clockwise direction. So the object is rotated in the clockwise direction, couple is also acting in the clockwise direction, it will add up. So what happens? The couple will try to, both the forces will try to rotate the object and make it fall inside the fluid. So this couple, we are calling it as destroying couple because it will destroy the object and the object will fall inside the liquid. So in a stable condition, we call this as restoring couple because it will restore the object to the stable condition. Whereas in unstable condition, this couple, it will destroy. So it is called as destroying couple because it will not make the object, it will not bring the object to the stable condition. So this is possible only when the center of buoyancy is below the center of gravity. So in case of submerged bodies, whenever you design submerged bodies, you should see that center of gravity will be below the center of buoyancy. So this principle is used in submarines. So usually this principle, since submarines are moving inside the fluid water, okay, it is a submerged body. So submarines are designed using this principle. So if it has to be in stable condition, so center of gravity will be below the center of buoyancy. And in neutral equilibrium, we know that they are in the same line, and also both center of buoyancy and center of gravity will be in the same point. So there is no question of couple here. So whenever you try to twist the object, it will be in the same position. You can twist it, they both will be in the same position. So again the object will be in equilibrium condition. So this is possible in case of when weight of the object is equal to the buoyant force, and also they should be in the same line at the same point. In all the cases, you can see here, in all the cases weight of the object will be equal to the buoyant force, but they are in opposite direction. So neutral equilibrium, whenever you give small displacement or twist returns to the original or it increases displacement, it will simply adapt to the new position. So whenever you try to rotate the object, it will be in the same position here. So this is called as neutral equilibrium. So all these principles are used in submarines when they are in the submerged. They are because they are the submerged bodies. They are inside the liquid. So a submerged body will be in three kinds of equilibrium: stable. Just now we saw that. This is unstable when B is below G. So and it is neutral when both are in the same point. So you should be very careful while designing submerged bodies. And coming to the stability of floating bodies, so just now we saw about submerged bodies, now we'll see about floating bodies. So floating bodies, some part will be there below the liquid or the fluid, some part will be above the surface. So here the concept will change, and we'll see how to calculate the stability, or how to observe, or what do you understand by the stability of the floating bodies. So in case of floating bodies, the center of buoyancy will be below the center of gravity. So here we can achieve the stability of the floating bodies even when center of gravity is above center of buoyancy. So just now we saw that for submerged bodies, center of gravity should be below center of buoyancy for stable condition. But here, in case of floating bodies, we see that center of gravity or center of buoyancy will be below the center of gravity. So in this case, floating bodies, what happens when the floating body undergoes a small twist or angular displacement? So you can see here, this is the object in the stable condition, equilibrium position, and now I'll give a small twist to the object. So what happens here? Center of gravity, we have a line between center of gravity and passing through center of gravity and center of buoyancy. So whenever this object this tilted, when we have the angular displacement, the position of this center of buoyancy will change in the horizontal direction, and the shape of the immersed body also changes. So the amount of immersed body in the amount of the object inside the water surface also will change. So you can see here, this is the amount of body object in the water surface, water in the water, and this is the, now when I tilt it, the amount of object inside the liquid or fluid will be changing. So what happens here is that the center of buoyancy will move, it will be shifted from this point to some other point here. So you can see here, center of gravity is here, center of buoyancy is here. So the line of center of gravity and buoyancy will be changed in case of floating bodies. So what I'll do is, we'll simply draw one vertical line from the new center of buoyancy. So this is the initial line connecting B and G, that is center of buoyancy and center of gravity, and from the new center of buoyancy you simply draw a vertical line which is connecting this initial line. So it will meet at this point, and this point is called as meta center. So what is the importance of this meta center, we'll see now. Okay, so because of this point M, what happens? Okay, the object will be pivoting, it will be rotating, it will be having at this center of this M. So this meta center is the point from where the object will be twisted or pivoting left or right side from this meta center. So this meta center for the floating bodies will decide, the height of this meta center will decide whether the floating body will be in stable condition or it will be in non-stable condition. So we'll see here. So what is this meta center now? So I just told you that it is a point about which a body will start oscillating. So point M is there, the object is here, it will be oscillating it will be pivoting from the center here. That center is called as metacenter, and it is the point at which the line of action of the force of buoyancy will meet the normal axis of the body when the body is given a small angular displacement. So you can see here, this is the point where the line of action of the buoyant force will meet the normal axis of the object. So this is the normal axis of the object, and this is the new line of the action of the buoyant force. They both meet here, and that point is called as metacenter. So in this case we have a floating body. So we'll take the example of a ship here. So I told you that ship will be having the contour like this. The profile of the ship inside the water will be like this. So why this is? Because we want to make that the amount of the weight of the water inside the weight of the body, weight of the ship inside the water will be more compared to the weight of the ship, so that center of buoyancy will be below center of the center of gravity. So here we have three conditions again: stable, stable and unstable here. So this is stable condition now. So where center of gravity, center of buoyancy is in the straight line, so it will be stable condition. Now I will give some small twist. I'll give the angular moment to the ship, to the clockwise direction. So what happens here, when I move the ship in angular direction clockwise, you can see here the center of buoyancy will shift here, and from the center of buoyancy I'll draw a line connecting to this normal axis of the ship. So this will become the metacenter. So now we have a couple here, we just saw in the previous cases. So this couple will be acting in the anticlockwise direction, and it will restore the ship to its original position like this, to the stable condition. So now this is called as stable equilibrium. So this is possible when M is above G. So metacenter should be above G. So suppose assume that when I twist the ship in one direction at some angle, and B is on the left hand side, and if I draw a straight line connecting the normal axis, M is here now. So when the metacenter is below center of gravity, what will happen? There will be a overturning or destroying couple moment. So you can see here this moment, because of G and B, there will be a overturning or destroying moment or couple. So it will be acting in the clockwise direction. Ship is also tilted in the clockwise direction. So both will add up, and it will overturn the object or the ship in this case. So here we should see that whenever we design a ship, the metacenter should be above G. Only then it will be in the stable equilibrium, stable condition. When the metacenter will come below G, if you design a ship such that metacenter will come below G, then it will overturn, the ship will be overturning. So it depends upon the shape and the weight of the ship you are designing. So this shape should be such that the amount of water displaced should be more than the weight of the ship, so that it will be floating. So this is the condition for floating, and for equilibrium condition, metacenter should be above the center of gravity of the object. And neutral equilibrium for floating bodies, so this metacenter will be at G. So both M and G will be at the same point for neutral equilibrium. So the same thing is given here. So metacenter is nothing but a point of intersection of line of action of buoyant force before and after twisting. The distance between center of gravity and metacenter is called as metacentric height. This is important here. So the distance between metacenter and this center of gravity is called as metacentric height. And distance BM, is known as metacentric radius. So the distance between M and the center of buoyancy, so where it is pivoting or where it is oscillating, it's nothing but the radius. Okay, it's nothing but oscillating radius, or we call this as metacentric radius. So if M is above G, so restoring couple will be acting. So the ship will be in the floating object will be in the stable condition. If M is below G, then the couple will destroy, it will overturn the ship, because it will add up, the couple will add up to the original twisting. So it is a overturning couple or the destroying couple. When M and G are in the same point, then it will assume a new position without any further moment. So that is, it will be in neutral equilibrium condition. So just remember these points here. So M is metacenter, G is center of gravity, B is center of buoyancy, and the distance between M and G is called as metacentric height. So this GM or MG is metacentric height, and the distance, so it is GM. So BM is distance between center of buoyancy and metacenter. So BG is distance between center of buoyancy and center of gravity. So this MG, metacenter height, is nothing but MB minus or BM minus BG. So for stable equilibrium, GM should be greater than 0, that is M should be above G. If M is below G, so GM will be negative, so it's not stable, it will be unstable. So for stable neutral equilibrium, GM should be equal to 0. So M should be along with G, coinciding with G. So here we have an analytical method to determine the metacentric height. So it's again simple mathematics, okay, and the derivation you can do it from here. So this is the floating object. So this is the surface AD. Below this surface, the object is covered with the liquid, and above this surface it is the free surface. So it's the floating object. So in floating object, some amount of the object will be below the surface and some amount will be above the surface. And this is the top view of the object. So it's a rectangular cross section, top view. So this is the length of the object, this is the width of the object, this is the height of the object. So plan of the body means top view, this is the top view. And so whenever we give a twist, angular twist to this object, you can see here the new position of the object, floating object, is this one. So A has moved here, D has come down here, and along this edge it is A dash D dash, new line. And this is the metacenter height, center of gravity, center of buoyancy. This is the new center of buoyancy. So this is the angle of twist given, and using all your mechanics, so we take the forces acting on this new element, and using the moment of inertia, moment of area, second moment of area, and all those things, and taking the areas, so we can do the derivation. We can follow this mathematical derivations. Let's not waste time here. So just look at this mathematical derivation. So ultimately what we'll get is, we will get the moment of inertia, second moment of inertia, that is I by y, that is along the longitudinal axis. So this is the y direction axis, y axis, and this is the x axis. So y axis is the along the length of the object. So that is the moment of inertia will be taken along the second moment of area, or the moment of inertia will be taken, and finally what we get is this one. So Bm is nothing but, this is total length of the length from center of metacenter to the center of buoyancy is nothing but the moment of inertia along y direction along the longitudinal axis, and the volume of the liquid displaced by the object. So that will give this Bm, and Gm, that is metacenter height. Gm is nothing but Bm minus Bg. So Bm is nothing but, just now we saw the second moment of area, and divided by the volume of the liquid displaced by the object, or the immersed volume. So that distance minus Bg. So Bg is the distance between center of gravity and center of buoyancy. So this will give the metacentric height. So this is only a derivation or how to determine the metacentric height. So using your mathematical equations, you just derive this, taking the moment of inertia. So this formula you just remember. So this is the metacenter or metacentric height, Gm. That is equal to Bm minus Bg, and this Bm is nothing but moment of inertia about y-axis, longitudinal axis, by the volume of the liquid displaced by the object, minus this distance, that is Bg, distance between center of gravity and center of buoyancy. So in this session we are seeing about the stability of the submerged bodies, so stability of the submerged bodies, and also we are seeing stability of the floating bodies. So in stability of floating bodies, we get a new point, that is metacenter, metacentric height, and all those things. So in the floating bodies, center of gravity should be above center of buoyancy, whereas in submerged bodies, center of buoyancy should be above center of gravity. So these two observations you have to keep in mind. And in floating bodies, we get a concept of metacenter and metacentric height, and metacentric height should be above center of gravity, and center of gravity should be above center of buoyancy. Okay, that's it for this session. Thank you. In the next session, we will try to solve some more problems on metacentric height. Thank you.